Well, one of our favorite guests here on Redacted, our audience regularly asks to have Gerald Celente back. Of course, the founder, the creator, the brilliant mind behind the Trends Journal, the man who predicted the stock market crash of 1987, the dot-com bust, the gold bull run, everything that we're currently seeing with Russia and beyond. Of course, looking at the current trends and forecasting and being able to show us what is on the table for 2024. So we listen to our audience. And Gerald is back for the biggest trends of 2024. Gerald, great to see you, my friend.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it.
Always, our audience loves you, and I'm a big fan. Of course, you and I are friends and go way, way back, many, many years.
Yeah.
So it's great to have you here. And over the years, I've interviewed you, and you've never failed to deliver. You've never failed to show unbelievable prescience, looking at the future trends of what's actually happening here. I've interviewed you for many, many years, and you have a 40-year track record of identifying these trends. I don't want to ask you what your secret is, but I'm going to ask you, what is your secret?
Well, I became a political atheist back in the late 1970s. I was the chief government affairs specialist for the chemical industry. I was at 28 years old. I was staying at the Willard Hotel in D.C. and putting my meetings on at the Hay Adams. I was a different guy. I was killing environmental legislation at the height of the environmental movement in the 1970s. All I wanted to do was make money and keep moving up. And then the Iran war broke out. And just as they teach us to hate Russia, they taught us to hate Iran. And people didn't have a clue. Matter of fact, I wrote about this in my book, Trend Tracking, far better than Megatrends, Time Magazine. People didn't have a clue the United States overthrew the democratically elected government of Mossadegh in 1953, along with the UK, Winston Churchill. They finally put the information out in 2017 of the United States overthrow of Mossadegh. And they brought in the Shah. People had no idea of Savak, the secret police. They killed hundreds of thousands of Iranians. Mossadegh had the nerve, the gall, in 1953 to say, listen, this oil does not belong to British Petroleum or Standard Oil, better known today as ExxonMobil and the other one, the British one. So they overthrew the government. So when the people were protesting and millions of people are taking to the streets, I said, this thing's going to be real. And Jimmy Carter came back from spending New Year's Eve with the Shah and his wife. And he came back and he had big day in those days, the helicopter, they salute. And he said that the Shah was the island of stability in the Middle East. In the Bronx, we used to have a saying, bullshit has its own sound. I said, this thing's going to go down. And I didn't know what I was doing. I bet a $5,000 bet in playing the futures markets. In gold and oil, I said, both prices are going to go up. I became a political atheist at that point. I no longer believed in the government. And I turned those $5,000 bets into almost $750,000. And that's when I quit my job. And that's when I began trend forecasting in 1980. So what I do is I look at information for what it is, not the way I want it to be. So now we have the wars going on in Ukraine and the Israel war. So what do? I go all over the world looking for information that the governments in those countries are putting out. So with the Israel war, I want to see what the Times of Israel, Haaretz, Jerusalem Post is saying. I want to hear what Al Jazeera is saying. I want to hear what the Tehran News is saying. I want to hear what ISNA is saying. So I look at everybody to what they're saying. So what we do in the Trends Journal, we put down, this is what they're reporting. This is our analysis. And this is where we see it going. And this is what you might want to do. So there's no propaganda into it.
Right.
But again, it's continuing studying. I read 5-6 hours a day. So it's to keep learning and to break out of the system.
And so the 2024 predictions, the top trends for 2024, I'm just going to pull a few of them out. I want our audience to go, we'll have a link in the description. People can go and actually, you've been kind enough for our audience to get 10% off if they want to sign up for the Trends Journal, just go to redacted.inc/trends. We'll have a link in the description if people want to check out the full Trends Journal on a regular basis. But let's look at your predictions for 2024. So I'm going to throw a few of them out here. There's 10 big predictions. I'm going to throw a few of them out here, and we'll just go through this. So here's one I love. EV, electric vehicles, go F you. EV, go F you. And we're starting to see some of this. So what do you see happening in the electric vehicle space?
It was hyped from the beginning, and we were writing about this. Again, that's what we also do in the Trends Journal. We put the links of all the articles we've written that are relative to what we're saying that go back many, many years. It's not what they promised. Take a look at the battery. When was the battery invented? 1800.
Right. A salt battery. Right? A sodium battery. That was the predominant battery in the United States or in electric vehicles around the world at the time. In the 1800s was a sodium battery, not lithium ion.
And then you have to do all of the mining to get this, and you're telling me this is environmentally safe. Mm-hmm. And then when you look at the cost of it, how much it costs to recharge it, and where you're getting the energy, by the way, to recharge it from.
Cool.
So it's a lot of BS. And now you look at the sales. They're going way down. Yeah, they're up in China. China's giving them big discounts when you buy them. That's why they're going up there. But the sales are going down around the world. Again, if the United States didn't put all the money, we're spending about over $1 trillion a year for the military-industrial complex. And when you put in the CIA, the NSA, Homeland Security, could you imagine if we put this money into research and development? Oh, and you don't have to believe me. Once upon a time, there was a guy by the name of Dwight D. Eisenhower, 5-star general, Supreme Commander of the Allied Forces, farewell address. The military-industrial complex is robbing the nation of the genius of the scientists, the sweat of the laborers, and the future of the children. So if we use the genius of the scientists to come up with an alternative, we wouldn't have these moronic electric vehicles. So they're not going to go anyplace fast. And you're looking at, again, all the recalls from Tesla, and one after another. So this isn't going to be a good investment.
A good friend of mine, old co-host of mine, just tweeted the other day or posted the other day, now that they're not called tweets. He said he bought an electric vehicle and it's been an absolute disaster. His battery doesn't last at all. It lasts for like 30 minutes, then it has to charge overnight. He said what a boondoggle it was. He fell for it, and he'll never fall for it again. And I think you're hearing this from a lot of individuals. Certainly when you're going to see truckers and everything, you have to move to an electric vehicle fleet. It's not going to happen. Okay, so EV, go F you. Let's talk about the migrant madness. One of your forecasts for 2024 is migrant madness, mad as hell. Talk about the migrant madness. And this is on during a week in New York City when we're seeing thousands of illegal immigrants coming into a school, forcing out the students into their, so that the students have to now go virtual learning because the students are being forced to, the illegal immigrants are now taking over the school, basically. So we're seeing this all over the country right now. Migrant madness, Gerald.
And it's all over the world. Let's go back again. All things are connected with trends, by the way. Chief Seattle said, all things are connected like the blood which unites us all. So let's go back and take a look at the economic picture. Let's go back to 2020. Just before the COVID war began, we put our top trends. One of them was New World Disorder. Clayton, there were protests going on in Algeria, in India, in South Africa, in Lebanon, in Peru, in France, the yellow vests, people taking to the streets in protest of lack of basic living standards, government corruption, crime, and violence. This is before this happened. People are taking the streets. COVID breaks out. You can't go out, get back in your home. So everybody forgot about that. Now what's going on? The global economy, don't believe me, don't believe our forecast, say, how about the World Bank? They just came out on Monday they're looking for the global economy to have its like worst time in about 30 years. So now you look at the global economy going down, and what the COVID war did, destroyed the lives and livelihoods of hundreds of millions, billions of people. People are escaping where they are to get away. So that made a bad situation worse. Now, why are they coming into the United States? Oh, this is the United States that starts wars all over the world, and you can't stop people from coming in the borders? Two reasons why. Number one, and again, not my language, the language coming out of a clown playing councilwoman, a congressional in Brooklyn. Well, we want more people in here so we can get more people to vote for me, basically. And number two, cheap labor.
Yep.
You go, again, when I was a young man, there were grocery stores, hardware stores, stationery stores, drug stores. They're all chains now. You go to every one of them. I don't care which one you go to, a sign on the door, help wanted. People, they're paying the people nothing. They're plantation workers of Slavelandia. It's better than the plantation system because you had to house them and feed them then. Now all you do is give them enough money here, get out of here, come back tomorrow. They need labor, and they need cheap labor. So that's another reason why they're coming in. And I want to go back to put it all together. When I was a young kid, I'll never forget, my parents, may they rest in peace, they were trying to bring their cousin Constantino in from Napoli. They couldn't bring him in. The restrictions were so tight. Then they began to change under that other murderous bastard, LBJ, LB Jerkoff Johnson. The Vietnam War, I'm prime Vietnam era draft meat back in those days. They drafted every guy. They needed cheap labor. He was the one that changed the immigration laws. And then in my book, Trends 2000, an international bestseller, that other warmongering piece of crap scum, Bill Clinton, every time I got caught with my pants down, bombs away over Baghdad, H-1B visas. This is the beginning of the internet revolution. They needed help. We don't want to pay you full pay. We're bringing them in from India. We're bringing them in from all over the world to work cheaply. That's why they changed all of this. So going back to it, now the people are paying for this in every country, paying for these people to come in, to house them, to feed them, to school, what are you, out of your mind? That's why you're seeing these populist movements building the way they are. Look at that clown that just got elected in the Netherlands over there.
Right.
So again, now you put it together again. When the Nobel Peace of Crap Prize winner Barack Obama, along with that other scumbag Sarkozy and Cameron, Sarkozy from France and Cameron from the UK, we got to get Gaddafi out of there. Gaddafi, anybody can look up the video. He said, you get rid of me, you're going to see a migrant crisis in Europe that you're not going to be able to stop. Because he was stopping them from coming out of Africa into Libya and going into Europe. Look, they wipe out Gaddafi, and that's the migrant, the refugee trend continues. So now the people are mad as hell, and they're not going to take it anymore. This is going to be a major issue and the creation of new parties. Oh, you were just in Berlin. How about the AfD party, Alternative for Deutschland? Oh, right. Why are they getting so much popularity? Anti-immigration.
Right. Yeah. And I heard it from a number of farmers as I spoke to the farmers who were there demanding lower fuel costs, demanding lower taxes, asking for their government to stand up for them instead of sending money around the world for foreign wars. They repeatedly talk about the AfD, and they want a new government. They're demanding a new government in Germany. And so you're seeing it there, and you're seeing it in the United States. Tens of thousands of illegal immigrants pouring across the border every day. And this is what happens when you destabilize countries around the world, to your Libya point. Just look at Nicaragua. Just look at Somalia. You destabilize these countries, and now and then you have a massive influx of Somalis into the United States. That's how it happens. Let's talk about. There's so many good ones here on your list. I don't want to give them all away. Let's pick two more. Here. Let's. Speaking of this, let's talk about Arab Spring 2.0. This is another forecast for 2024. Arab Spring 2.0. What do you mean by that?
Well, you go back to the Arab Spring. They were protesting against the dictatorial governments that took over their lives. And now the economic situation has become a lot worse. And then now there's the Israeli war. You don't, back again when I was a young guy, back in the 1973, the Arab nations united and they put restrictions on oil exports to stop the 1973 Israeli war. And it worked. They're not doing anything now. And you're looking at the protests going on against the Israel war in Gaza all over the world. So now the people are very disgusted with their governments for not doing anything about this. That's a major one. And the other one is they're sinking deeper into poverty. We are going to have an economic crisis unfold in 2024, the likes of which we've never seen before. The economies were artificially propped up to fight the COVID war. Look at the debt level you have in the United States, $34 trillion. How can anybody in business keep going in business when you have all this kind of debt? You can't. And that's what's going on. Not my language, but you're seeing defaults fail one after another coming all over the world. So now the economic conditions are going to get a lot worse and you're going to see a lot more protests. So look for another Arab Spring.
And then another one here on your list. Let's choose this. How about the presidential reality show? I'm not going to give away number one on the list. I'm not going to give away number two. I want people to go and read the full journal here. But I like this one: presidential reality show, number 4 trend for 2024. What is this?
That's all it is. It's a reality show. Look at the clowns you got running. I mean, Trump was a reality show champion. It's all it is. It's a TV show. We were talking about what's going on in all of these countries in Europe with different populist movements. In America, nothing. The same clown show, different year, different time. So we're going to go into this election, and we're calling it a reality show. Go back. One of my lines is, when all else fails, they take you to war. What followed the Great Depression? Oh, World War II. What followed the dot-com bust? Oh, the war on terror. When the presidents are down, they go to war. So Biden, you look at the polls. The polls show, oh, Trump could beat Biden. No, look at the other polls. The polls show that the people don't want either one of them. So we're going to see war ramp up so that Biden stays in office, if they even run him. So it's a freak show in front of everybody's eyes. There are no third parties, and it shows you the decline of America. Again, it's just another reality show.
It is. It's so sad that this is American politics. When you think these are the people that we have to pick from, these are the people. We've got warmongers. We've got criminals, criminal in the White House right now, and this is what we've got to choose from. It's a sad, sad day. No third parties. We've never had a successful third-party candidate. We got very close with Ross Perot. Hell, Theodore Roosevelt, who was president of the United States and then ran as the Bull Moose ticket a few years later as a third-party candidate, couldn't even win. That's how entrenched the two-party system is in the United States, Democrats and Republicans. It's terribly sad.
Well, I just want to comment on that. People don't like me sometimes. They say, they don't like my language and my attitude. Grow up. How could you be so stupid to swallow the crap coming out of these morons' mouths? Who do you like the best? Dead in front of your eyes, Mitch McConnell, the Republican, leader of the Senate. Or maybe you like little Chucky Schumer, an arrogant little clown boy. You were on Fox all those years. How many times did they interview a little piece of nothing like Lindsey Graham? A little clown warmongering freak that couldn't fight his way out of a paper bag. It's a freak show in front of everybody's eyes. But hey, it's a reality show. And by the way, you go to trendsjournal.com and you could get one of these T-shirts.
I love it.
And here's the back. I was the assistant to the Secretary of the New York State Senate at 26 years old. I've been with presidents, prime ministers, and princes. I was in the system. It's a freak show. There are little boys and girls that wanted to be class president, head of the student council. Those are the ones running it. You're still in kindergarten, high school, and college. We got to change the system, but there's no fight. No fight in America. It's gone. Boop, gone.
Yeah. Well, they want to keep us all on antidepressants and so you see alcohol commercials every 5 minutes on television too. So they want to keep us sedated. They want to keep us down. They don't want us rising up. They want to keep it at, and then if you do, then you're labeled an extremist.
Yeah.
Gerald Celente, the Trends Journal, the new one is out now for 2024, the big forecast for the year. How often do you publish the Trends Journal? This is, of course, your big forecast for the year. The Trends Journal comes out
It's a weekly.
Weekly.
Over 170 pages a week. You could listen to it, print it out, PDF. You print out what you want. And again, it's the grand total. Now with the discount, we're talking about like $2 a week. When you go to your site and get it, it's around $2 and change. And if you don't like it, 30-day money back guarantee. And I'm not saying this to brag, but there's no magazine in the world like it. We're the only one that tells you what in the world is going on, what it means, and what's next. And by the way, the motto of the Trends Journal is also think for yourself. This is the way we see it. This is where we see it going. But here are the facts. It's up to you to decide, what's going to happen, what to do, and how to prepare, prevail, and prosper in these very, very dangerous times ahead.
Well, I love it. It's been something I've been reading for many, many years. So going back to many years when I first met you, and I absolutely love it. I think it's fantastic information. So check it out. We'll have a link. And thank you. Gerald was kind enough to set up a 10% discount coupon for any of our Redacted viewers. So you just need to use the coupon code Redacted. We'll have a link in the description. If you just go to redacted.inc/trends, it'll take you right to their page, and you can get 10% off if you sign up for Trends. Gerald, great to see you. Happy New Year. I wish that I wish a lot of your predictions wouldn't come true, but you're always spot on. So we're going to see a lot of these things happening this year. But Happy New Year to you, Gerald. Great to see you.
And Happy New Year to you. And thank you so much for all that you do. What your show's putting out, the people that comment on it and watch it, it's what the world needs. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.